Here is a sneak peek at the condiments that I like to keep on hand in my fridge and pantry.
Hello, welcome to my kitchen, the good stuff audience. I'm home from work, so my hair is in a thing on my head. Aaron's here.
Hi.
How's it going? Let's take a look at what I got going on in the fridge. We're making dinner. In the fridge, we have got, honestly, some of my favorite stuffs. Love a Dijon mustard, great emulsifier, super good flavor. Mayonnaise, always good for salad dressings, really good for, obviously, a sandwich, and food glue. We love a food glue. We've got some capers. Capers are fantastic, little pickly guys. World of drinks, but we're not talking about drinks. And of course, always gotta have your shaky cheese. Let's check the pantry, shall we? Ooh, I did not organize this. Okay, so we have another World of Mustard, my very favorite. My favorite mustards, we got dill pickle mustard, super hot mustard, tahini, great condiment, super good, really nutty. Fancy other things, very excited about those. Spices, that's not really what we're talking about, but this is the zone. We've got vinegars, we've got fancy oils, we've got sesame oil, things like that. And then an obscene amount of hot sauce in that corner, which I need to do something with. I think I'm gonna come up with a recipe for some hot sauce. See you back in the kitchen in 3, 2, 1, hot sauce.
Now, yes, I do love my condiments, and as you can see, I have a little bit of a hot sauce collection. Does anybody else have a hot sauce collection? Yes, so good, right? Oh my gosh, I love a hot sauce. It's so good. And sure, I love adding a few dashes to this and that, like my breakfast eggs or tacos or chili or anything like that. But when the collection starts getting a little bit out of hand, which it tends to do, I like to use hot sauce as an actual ingredient in my cooking. That way I'm using up more than just a teaspoon at a time. So today I'm gonna show you how to use up a good amount of one of my favorite hot sauces, Sriracha, in my Maple Sriracha Salmon. Yeah, I'm very excited. This recipe is really, really good. It's super duper simple, and you're using up a good amount of that Sriracha, which is great, because then you can have more room for the other bottles of Sriracha that I know you have hanging around. You know what I mean? All right, so we're gonna get started, and we are making salmon. So the first thing we need to do is get to work on that salmon. Now this glaze also works really nicely on chicken. I would do it with chicken thighs probably to keep them nice and juicy, but I love how quick cooking and beautiful salmon is. So here I've got 4 salmon fillets, looking absolutely beautiful. You can get them with skin on or skin off, whatever. To be honest, if you are new to cooking fish or a little bit nervous about cooking fish, if you buy it with skin on, that skin almost acts like an insurance policy to just hold everything together. Good crispy skin, very tasty. Maybe not for everybody though, but even if you're not gonna eat it, buy it with the skin on, usually a little cheaper, and it holds everything together nicely. But anytime I'm looking for a nice golden brown sear and texture, I like to dry off whatever meat I'm cooking. So I'm just gonna dab the top of these salmon fillets with a little bit of paper towel, because moisture is the enemy of golden brown deliciousness. We don't want that. So now onto there, I'm gonna go on with some oil. Now typically when you're searing something, you think, oh, I'll put the oil in the pan. But I actually like with salmon to actually put it on the salmon in general as opposed to in the pan, because it makes for less splattering and popping. Gives you the perfect amount to coat it, but not too much that you're ending up dealing with leftover oil. So I'm gonna add a little drizzle of any sort of oil you've got hanging around, olive oil, neutral oil. And if you happen to have in your pantry this little guy, toasted sesame oil, that's really nice. That gives a really good flavor. A little bit goes a long way, so I'm just gonna add a little drizzle of that right on top. Now at this point, you could season this with a little bit of salt and pepper if you're feeling it, but we're gonna add soy sauce to this later, so that's good and salty already, so I'm just gonna leave this as is. Give this a little bit of a flop around just to coat all of that beautiful salmon with that lovely oil. And this is my tip. Anytime you are cooking really any sort of meat, always sear it presentation side down first. That's the side that you want to be extra crispy, extra golden brown. So even if you're doing like a chicken breast or anything like that, always do the side you want facing up on the plate first. Now, for me, when I'm making salmon, if you're looking for a crispy skin, obviously start with that skin side. It's gonna give it a good hard sear, but I actually really like a crispy flesh. That top where it's golden brown and beautiful. The skin will get a little bit crispy, which is delightful, but I like that good kind of texture on the flesh side. So I've got a pan here over about medium-high heat, because I want a good hard sear. And I'm gonna go in flesh side down. Oh, that sounds good. That's a nice sound. This is what we're looking for. Now, salmon, if I were to do this skin side down, what I like to do is actually give it a little bit of a press just to make sure that skin stays nice and flat. It has the tendency to kind of curl up. So if you were doing skin side down, give it a bit of a press. That'll keep it nice and wonderful. For that first side, I cooked that for about, I'd say, 5 minutes. Salmon's interesting because you can actually kind of watch it cook up the side of those fillets. So you can see as it gets a little over halfway cooked. Once it's done for 5 minutes, flip it over, let it go for about another minute or 2, maybe 3, just until it's cooked through and that skin is nice and crisp as well. I'm gonna transfer this guy off the heat. And then we are going to chat. Once that is done, you take it out of the pan, set it aside, put it on a plate, and it is cooked through totally. Right now, that is just very plain salmon, but it is crispy and golden brown, so I'm feeling good about it. Now, while that rests, I've got a smoking hot pan right here. Whew! Don't worry, this is totally fine. That's gonna be flavor. So what I'm gonna first do is I'm gonna deglaze it. Anytime your pan starts looking like this, add a splash of water. It's totally fine. So add that water in. That's gonna take a little bit of that right off the bottom. I'm gonna grab that paper towel that I had from earlier, give it a little bit of a mop. And see, it's cleaned up most of that. It's kind of like doing a little bit of a wash before you even start. Now into there, I'm gonna add in my greens. So this is a good one-pan dinner. For my greens, I'm doing bok choy. You could also do baby broccoli, broccolini, anything like that. If I've got baby bok choy, I like to give it a slice in half, maybe in quarters, depending on how big it is. I love bok choy because it kind of gives the vibe of a leafy green, like spinach or kale or something like that. But also the bottom part is almost like celery or like a water chestnut. Really nice and crispy and delicious, so you get the best of both worlds. But honestly, whatever you're feeling, I'm gonna go into that pan with this bok choy. Not adding any more oil, nothing like that. I almost wanna give this a little bit of a steam. So go in with that bok choy into that nice hot pan. And then we're gonna add in just a splash of some of that water. That's gonna give you a little bit of steam just to bring everything up. Pop that on in. Quickly trap that steam and let that go for about a minute. Once that's gone for about a minute, you are gonna see all of the greens start to get tender. They're gonna cook down, they're gonna get really bright and beautiful. And again, if you wanted to do this with baby broccoli, broccolini, that would be amazing. Regular broccoli, baby spinach would take like 2 seconds flat, which would be amazing. But I'm gonna give this a little bit of a mix. Let's see how we're doing. Do you see how much greener that is? Like, it is getting bright and wonderful. So I'm just gonna give that a bit of a stir. It's starting to smell really good. But to deglaze and bring more flavor and seasoning onto that, I'm going in with about a tablespoon of some good old-fashioned soy sauce, our first condiment of the day. I love soy sauce. It's gonna bring so much umami flavor. I'm adding in about a tablespoon. You start to smell it come together. I'm gonna keep cooking this until that soy sauce reduces down. Get that bok choy out of the pan, and when we come back, we're gonna use up that sriracha. Our secret weapons today, and I am making my Maple Sriracha Salmon. I'm very excited about this dish. It uses 3 of my favorite condiments. We've got soy sauce in there, we've got maple syrup, which I do count as a condiment. And we've also got sriracha. Sriracha is a really good one to cook with because it has a lot of garlicky flavor in it. It's got a really nice consistency too. It's a little more like sticky than other hot sauces, so it makes for a beautiful, beautiful sauce for some wonderful seared salmon. So I'm gonna get to work on that actual sauce right now. So I'm just gonna set that pan aside off the heat, and I'm gonna go in with a whole 1/4 cup of sriracha. We're going big. Yeah, I told you, we're gonna use up the bottle. It feels very exciting. Now, if you want to, you could do extra sauce. I am a saucy gal, I like a lot of sauce. So do as much as you want. Basically, you want equal parts sriracha and maple syrup. So I'm just gonna kind of go to town. There's nothing that feels more satisfying than putting this much hot sauce into something. Because you're just like, yes. Listen, I love sriracha. It's a really, really good hot sauce. Oftentimes, though, for some reason, it's like, it kind of is flippant. Like, sometimes you find it, sometimes you don't. So when you find sriracha, buy a couple bottles, just in case, because nothing hits like it. Now, into there, I'm gonna go in with about equal parts maple syrup. The maple syrup is gonna give like a nice kind of, almost like a savory sweetness into this dish. I love maple syrup. It's really, really bright and tasty, but it has a little bit of a minerally flavor to it. So it works really well with the sriracha. So again, equal parts that right on in. That's gonna cook down and give this also a really nice kind of sticky, syrupy consistency. Now into there, I wanna go in with some fresh ingredients as well. So the first thing I need is ginger. Does anybody know where I keep my ginger? Freezer. This is why I love you all. Thank you so much. What a delight. Yeah, I always keep my ginger in the freezer because it keeps it fresh for pretty much ever. You never end up with that little sad, shriveled bit of ginger that you're like, what is that? I don't understand. Pop it in your freezer and it'll be good for ages. Now, I'm just gonna grate about 2, maybe 3 tablespoons of that ginger. It's so good. It tastes healthy, but in a good way, not in a like, oh, it tastes healthy way, you know? Add that on in. Then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of garlic as well. Again, I'm just gonna mince that right on top. And since I'm hardly gonna cook this sauce, this is just gonna be bright and fresh, punchy garlic and ginger flavor. So just add that right on in. Give that a good tap. Then get your whisk, your handy dandy whisk, pop it in, give it a little bit of whisk. This is where you make like a homemade egg beater. Very exciting. Perfect. That is all you need to do for that sauce. Now, I've got the pan over here that was cooking that bok choy. That soy sauce is cooked down. It's kind of reduced on the bottom of that pan. So I'm gonna deglaze with a little bit of that soy sauce just to kind of bring everything together, give it a bit of seasoning as well. And then we're gonna go in with that wonderful, wonderful sauce here. Pop that in, let this cook down for just about a minute or 2. That's gonna cook off that raw garlic flavor. It's gonna get a little more syrupy and sticky. Once that comes together, you see that deep, dark color that it gets from all of that cooking that's been going on in that pan. What you wanna do is you wanna grab your salmon fillets that you've cooked earlier, pop those into the sauce, because right now they're very plain, and give them just a little bit of a flip. Wait until you see the brilliant color. Like, look at that, syrupy and beautiful. Just kind of give that a good bathe in all of that amazing syrupy sauce. This is a total winner in my house. Honestly, salmon is kind of the new chicken. I feel like everybody's making it. It's really tasty, super simple to put together. If it falls apart a bit, honestly, that's extra salmon. Now, to serve this up, I'm gonna go grab my bowl. I just like serving it with a side of rice, something like that. Just steam up some rice. Oh, that is beautifully steamed rice. My wonderful culinary team in the back did such a good job. This is better rice than I ever would have made. I'm just gonna add a bit of this rice right on into my bowl. Pop that salmon right on top. Oh, do you see how syrupy it's getting? Oh my gosh. Pop that right on there. Spoon over some of that extra sauce. That syrupy, beautiful sauce right on top. And then you cannot forget about that beautiful sesame bok choy. Pop that on the plate as well, and you have got a well-rounded dinner for 4 in no time. Super tasty and wonderful. All right, let's taste the star of the show. I feel like people are gonna be like, Mary, that's gonna be too spicy, but it's not. Let's go for it, okay. Oh my gosh. Garlicky, sweet, gingery. You gotta give this a go. We gotta take a break and we'll be right back. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.